I'm just sorry that Marvin Winkler and Leslie Scott and Elvin Ivory were unable to make the trip here for this reunion because they were the trailblazers at that point. Now, I understand Elvin Ivory is a TV producer in Hollywood. I couldn't wait to meet him again. But we do have one person that lit up the skies in the basketball world to talk about some of those years from '69 on. That is Dwight Bo Pete Lamar.
Well, we're going to talk about change. And when I got here, things certainly did change. We went from, you had great basketball tradition, and then here come the hip-hop generation. Coach Shipley was blonde before I got here. I turned his hair red. And I want to let Coach Cox know, too, and Coach Shipley, that I got to confess that at least 3 times when you came and checked for curfew, I did leave after you left. But it was only 3 times. Peyton was with me. I got to tell this story. I have to tell this story because it's really a funny story. And one of those times that we left, I had to coach Peyton. I said, come on, Peyton, man, he's not coming back. I said, they're not even coming because it's late. I said, let's go get us something to eat and go look around. And Peyton said, no, man, he's coming. I said, come on, Peyton. So anyway, to make a long story short, we get halfway from Stokes Dormitory all the way to the old athletic office by McNaspy Stadium, and a car turns the corner. And I said, Peyton, that's Coach Cox. So we take off running, and we lived on the 2nd floor of Stokes Dormitory. And it was so close that we had to scoot on the floor because if we stood up, Coach Cox could see us from the parking lot. So he knocks on our door, me and Peyton sitting in there. He said, what you guys doing? I said, we're studying. He said, and we were sweating real hard. He said, well, y'all take a break because y'all studying too hard. But I want to say some things about Coach Shipley that a lot of people wasn't going to say, but they're kind of still scared of him, but I'm going to say it. He wasn't all that nice. We practiced in the old men's gym. He would shut the windows, put chains on the doors, and wouldn't let you get a drink of water for an hour. He couldn't coach in these days now. Another thing about Coach Shipley was he had this way that he would just tell you exactly what he felt. And some people couldn't stand that, and I was one of them. For 4 years, I had to hear this man tell me to take a lick. Still had the privilege of really being a family-oriented university, and Coach Shipley had a lot to do with that. And one of the players Friday night wasn't there, and his name was Denny Wright. So somebody asked me, where was Denny? And I said, well, he's probably running around Blackham Coliseum because that's what Coach Shipley always had him doing. Denny's a coach now. And one day at practice, I don't know whether Coach Shipley forgot about Denny running around there or he just didn't care. But after about an hour, I said, well, Coach, I think Denny ran enough. And he looked up, and I guess he let Denny come down, but that's the kind of coach Coach Shipley was. Seriously, I did a lot of things to Coach Shipley, not really bad things, but didn't always do what he told me to do. And I just say that I lost my father when I was 5, and Coach Shipley filled that void, and I treated him like a parent because I didn't listen to him. But all of us do love you, and I hope I can play golf Wednesday because at least I get to yell at you like you used to yell at me. Thank you.
Beryl and I have been making the circuit in preparation for this on radio and television stations around here. And somebody asked him the other day if he ever had to pull Lamar out of a game. And he said, well, we had to take him out every so often to rest his arm. The guy that I remember most of all as the guiding force behind Beryl, who was a male, other than Dolores, that is, was Tom Cox. Tom came here and really lit a fire as an assistant coach. So we'd like him to come up and tell us a little bit about how it was to be the assistant coach to the one and only Beryl Shipley.
Okay. So I asked Ron more than once to put me last in the group of players and assistant coaches that was going to say something because I thought I could cheat. They told us we'd have 3 or 4 minutes, and I thought I'd have a little more time. I said, Ron, you have to realize that I was with Beryl Shipley and USL for twice as long as any player, probably 4 times as long as any assistant coach he had. So, I think I deserve a little more time. Ron said, Coach, you understand, don't you, that Coach Shipley was at USL twice as long as you were, and he's speaking last? I needed to take this opportunity to say some things that I've never said before. And when I think about the people that have had a really positive effect on my life, and I eliminate the obvious, God and my parents, I come down to two people that and I know that Beryl won't object to me ranking him second. He hadn't been there too many times in his life. But when I've had to face the tunnels in my life, as all of you have, there's always been that constant bright light in every one of them. And I have to rank her first. That's Miss Judy. I need to thank Coach Shipley for choosing me in 1965 to help him fulfill his dreams and goals in basketball. I have to thank him for making me a better coach when I thought I already knew everything there was to know about the game. I have to thank him for creating name recognition in this community that I was privileged to ride the coattails of, that's been primarily responsible for me being successful in business in Lafayette. Before I get too choked up, I better get back to the table. So get back to Grandpa, and that Judy and I got to watch that kid this past year hit a Grand Slam homer in the Little League state playoffs in Mississippi. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, we got to watch him catch the winning touchdown pass in his first football game. And that's another thing that I have to indirectly thank Coach Shipley for, because if he hadn't brought me down here, we wouldn't have known Kay, we wouldn't have known Betsy, we wouldn't have had those 5 grandchildren. I wouldn't have got to see that home run. And so indirectly, he's been responsible for a lot of that too. And I'm going to take this opportunity, in case it isn't done later, to say one thing real quick about one of the greatest SIDs that's ever been in the history of sports, Bob Henderson, who's deceased now. His wife is here, Judy Henderson. Judy, would you stand? Just about anywhere in the country, they made the decision to come here. They listened to our stories, and they listened to our song. And we can't say enough about you guys that made that commitment to come here and help us do what we wanted to do. One little short story, and then I'll finish, and this is for all you players, because I couldn't tell you this before. This is a story about the guy that died, and he gets to heaven, and St. Peter tells him, says, look, we give you a choice here. We want you to know what you're facing, and we give you a choice. So we're going to send you down to hell to see what that's like, and then we'll bring you back. Put him on the elevator, they send him down, he gets off, and there's the most gorgeous golf courses, beautiful people, great food. The devil's a nice-looking guy, and he just has a blast for about 3 days. gets on the elevator and goes back to heaven for about 3 or 4 days. He's sitting around listening to harps, and, and nothing to do, whatever. So finally he gets to St. Peter. He said, I don't know if you're going to understand this or not, St. Peter, but he said, I've chosen hell. Said, I need to go. And he said, that's your choice. So he takes the elevator back down. When he gets off, the most desolate-looking place you've ever seen. There's nothing. It's fires burning everywhere. The people are all crazy. The devil looks like the devil. He looks at the devil and says, I don't understand. I was here just this past week, 3 or 4 days. It's gorgeous, most gorgeous place I've ever seen. Everything was beautiful. And you were even the nicest. The devil said, hey, that was during your paid recruiting trip.